CHAMPS Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 26 of State Champs Live, presented by Lawrence Tech. Did you know that U.S. News ranks Lawrence Tech as a best value school? What does that mean? Return on investment. You're going to graduate as one of the leaders of tomorrow with a great degree that employers value. Only schools ranked in or near the top half of their categories are included because U.S. News considers the most significant values to be among colleges that are above average academically. Begin your future at ltu.edu. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. My name is Lauren Plant. Today's guest is coming up, but first, let's check out the headlines for Wednesday, May 6th. Capture the flag. In a moment where many colleges are shutting down athletic programs, the NAIA has given those who want to add another sport a new option: flag football for women. The National Football League and reigning champs experiences are combining forces to help hammer out the competition guidelines. The NAIA is planning to officially add flag football as a varsity sport by next year. The first competitive season will be held in the spring of 2021, with its first championship set for the spring of 2022. But the sport must get to 40 participating programs to reach full championship status. The ballot box giving sports a big boost. Sometimes it takes a situation like we're currently in to remind us how much we rely on high school athletics. Voters took that to heart Tuesday as several districts' bond initiatives passed, which set the stage for capital improvements to athletic facilities. Grand Blank's $87 million bond will fund massive upgrades to the athletic complex, including a remodeled aquatic center and a turf field for football. Otsiego's $23 million bond will allow for the resurfacing of the high school track, the construction of a new aquatic facility, and the repurposing of the old pool into additional athletic courts and a STEM work area. Vicksburg's $41 million bond will fund improvements like new turf for the football stadium, while Godwin Heights' $13.9 million bond includes money to renovate the high school's baseball field. Garden City's $50 million bond provides funds to improve athletic facilities and restore the high school's pool, while the Warren Woods District's $45.5 million bond includes money to continue the upgrades in athletic facilities started with the 2017 bond. Caledonia's $88 million bond will allow the district to partner with the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids to operate a new athletic complex with an aquatic center, while Muskegon's $104.7 million bond will allow for artificial turf installation at 100-year-old Hackley Stadium and a new auxiliary gym at the high school among its athletic upgrades. More USHL draft picks from Michigan. After 16 Michiganders were picked in Phase 1 of the United States Hockey League draft on Monday, 25 more players with Michigan roots were taken in the 24 rounds of Phase 2 on Tuesday. It started with two first-rounders, Muskegon's Tanner Lash at pick number 4 and Celine's Davis Pennington at number 11, and wrapped with a pair of high schoolers in rounds 21 and 23. Detroit Country Day defenseman Jacob Thomas was selected with the 7th pick of round 21 by Sioux Falls, which turned around 2 rounds later and tabbed Detroit Catholic Central forward Kyle Gaffney with the 7th pick in round 23. For the full draft results of Michigan players, check out our Out of Left Field blog at statechampsnetwork.com. All right, those are the headlines. Let's get to today's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. Which Detroit pro team will be the first to win a championship when we return to normal? Lions, Tigers, Pistons, or Red Wings? Find State Champs Michigan on Twitter and please vote for today's question of the day. We'll read the results tomorrow. All right, it is a recruiting Wednesday here on State Champs Live. Longtime State Champs contributor, Midwest football recruiting insider for 247 Sports. You can also read him from time to time in the Detroit News. Alan Trieu, back in the house. How are you, my man?
Doing great, Lauren. Hanging in there, but doing very well.
Yes, good. I know you got a couple young kids that keep you busy. And I know that normally you'd be getting ready for an influx of showcases, combines all over the Midwest and beyond. I know April had some, May had some this summer. Do you find perhaps, though, that maybe your services are more valuable to college coaches and scouts now because they won't get to see these up-and-comers in person this year? But then again, you won't either.
Yeah, it's already happened the last couple of weeks where we've written some articles and some kids, and next week a bunch of schools offer them. And in fact, last week, this kid said Arizona State told him they found the kid through 247 Sports. So yeah, without an opening regional or without the Under Armour regional camps, it's harder for us to see some of these guys, but it's definitely harder for schools with no spring evaluation period. So any kind of word of mouth these kids can get right now, including what we do, is another avenue for colleges to find them, because it's much, much harder for them to do that without being able to hop around from high school to high school, which they would normally be doing right now.
Absolutely. No surprise that one of the hot names in recruiting comes from Belleville, quickly becoming a college football factory like its counterparts in Detroit. Cass Tech and King. What Tiger are we talking about today?
Jamari Budden is the one that has everybody's attention right now. Everybody wants to know what's going on with him, and our crystal balls, which predict where a kid is going to go, a lot of them are very foggy right now. He's keeping everybody guessing. So he's got a top 7, but Penn State, Michigan State, Minnesota, Purdue, those are all schools he talks about quite a bit. Michigan State has been the school recently that I think's been talked about the most. They've really picked things up with him, are recruiting him very hard. He would be a huge get for Mel Tucker and company, but they're still really having to battle it out right now with the Nittany Lions and with the Wolverines. I think those are the 3 schools in the best position. He's saying everyone in the top 7 is still open. That's the reason that I think he's been a guy that we've gotten a lot of questions about recently, is because Michigan State's crept in there, and the other schools, fans of the other schools, want to know how serious of a threat the Spartans are.
Central Michigan is trying to build something powerful in Mount Pleasant. I understand several players from in-state have recently come on board.
Yeah, they have 6 total commits right now, and several of those come from inside the state. The last 2 were big ones out of Macomb, Dakota, in running back DJ Stepney, and then cornerback athlete Eric Reese. Both of those guys had a lot of options to go elsewhere. Reese had several offers within the Mid-American Conference as well. Stepney had those offers, but also had some Power 5 opportunities from Indiana and Iowa State and schools like that. So obviously that's a great program to dip into, very successful high school program. But you watch both of these guys, they're two-way players. Stepney's a guy that'll hit you on defense, also been extremely productive as a running back. Reese is a guy with length and man-to-man cover skills. They've timed him extremely fast, in the 4.3s and 4.4s at his high school. So he's a guy with makeup speed as well as length. So they're going to help Central Michigan recruit that part of the state as well. There's a couple guys on their team that the Chippewas are recruiting. So don't look for this momentum that Jim McElwain and company have built to stop anytime soon. So 6 commits, 4 from inside the state, and I think there's about to be a couple more.
If you have any questions for Alan regarding anything football recruiting, now's the time to ask on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We'll get to them in a couple of minutes. I referenced Detroit King just a minute ago. One of their big offensive linemen is about to announce.
Yeah, Brandon Honorable, who is a junior, 6'7", 270 pounds. I think he has arguably as much upside as any offensive lineman in the state. Very athletic. And a guy who I think could develop into a franchise-type left tackle. He's going to commit on Sunday, on Mother's Day, down to a few schools there. Maryland, Tennessee, Toledo he's talked about, Eastern Michigan he's talked about. Hitt is the school that I think has really caught his attention of late, and a lot of folks think that might be where he ends up. They obviously had great success with a King alum in Avante Maddox, who developed into a draft pick there. So we'll find out on Sunday, but he's had quite his share of options. Minnesota and Michigan State did not make his top list, but they did offer him scholarships. So he was a guy who got recruited very heavily here from basically coast to coast.
And at Cass Tech, another big man on the brink of committing?
Yeah, Terrence Enos, their offensive lineman, offensive tackle prospect, another guy who's picked up some very notable offers. LSU, Arkansas, Purdue, Iowa State, those are some of the schools that made his top 7. Like Brandon, there's been some buzz here for Pitt, so it's possible maybe those two guys, even though they play at rival high schools in Detroit, will end up as teammates if they both choose the Panthers. But we'll find out on Sunday. But Terrence has been a guy who's been on the recruiting radar for several years, went out to some camps early in his career. I remember him as a freshman being out there at several events and showing his potential. And then since then, really has developed and realized that potential, a guy who can play several different spots along the offensive line. And that's helped him earn double-digit offers. And like I said, SEC, Big Ten, ACC, you name it, he's picked up offers from those conferences. So we'll find out on Sunday, but the possibility is there that him and Brandon may line up next to each other one day.
All right, we'll be getting to any questions that you might have for Alan via Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Get them in now if you have any. But first, this is what happened this week in state champs history. To the west side of the state for boys rugby. Yeah, that's right, rugby. The year was 2015. Holland West Ottawa squaring off against the defending state champ, Grand Rapids Catholic Central. Check out Jeff Snickers for GRCC going beast mode as he drags the defenders for the try. Cougars down 1 at the half. To the remaining moments of the game, David Rich for West Ottawa gets the try as time expires. Holland West Ottawa beats Grand Rapids Catholic Central 28-22 the final. This week in State Champs history, presented by Lawrence Tech Athletics. Recruit yourself at ltuathletics.com. Hey, there you go, Alan. If there's no football this fall, maybe they'll still have some high school rugby out there for you to recruit. So
my wife played rugby at Grand Valley, so I know a thing or two about rugby. I could maybe do that.
All right. Let's get to today's questions for recruiting guru from 247 Sports, Alan Trieu. We did have one, and I knew this would be coming, and that is regarding the University of Michigan. Any news lately?
As far as the in-state guys, I don't think anything is upcoming here. They're still battling away on some of these kids. We mentioned Jamari Budden, Michigan's still in it, even though that one seemed like a layup for them for a while. Maybe not the layup it was at one point. Michigan's still in the game there. They're still recruiting Donovan Edwards, still recruiting Rayshawn Benny, still recruiting Rocco Spindler, still recruiting Garrett Dellinger. So they're in the mix on all of those top in-state guys, but nothing coming up, as I think the majority of those guys or all of those guys are probably going to be waiting a little bit longer to make their decisions. But I do think Michigan's off to a pretty good start on some 22 guys inside the state as well. Joshua Burnham from Traverse City being one. So maybe not anything on the horizon, like imminent here, but Michigan's still plugging away with those in-state guys.
And lastly, how's Western Michigan doing?
Western Michigan picked up some commitments here recently. And I think their next goal would be to find a quarterback in the class. Connor Easthope was committed, ended up choosing Harvard instead. But they've picked up a couple of commits from outside the state. They're doing very well in the state of Illinois. Still trying to get some more in-state guys into the boat. But so far, I think pretty good class in 21 for Tim Lester and company.
Nice. All right, Alan, let's do it again in a couple of weeks. Where is the best place for anyone to go to follow your work?
Yeah, 247sports.com is where most of it is, and I tweet out a lot of that information at Alan Trieu, ALLENTRIEU, and then Detroit News twice a week, and then obviously right here as well.
All right, thank you, Alan. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Lauren. Thank you.
You got it. Let's take a look at today's MHSAA Clip of the Day. And that's your MHSAA Clip of the Day. Hey, you can recruit yourself just like that. We want your short video clip to be today's Clip of the Day. Send us the link to your clip on any of our social media platforms. We'll check it out. DMC Game Changers are segments where we carefully crafted with the DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine team, segments designed to get you informed on the latest technology breakthroughs designed to make you a better athlete, but also practical advice on small things you can do to improve performance. Here's an example.
So to become a faster athlete, train your feet. You're already training your legs and your core muscles. It only makes sense to train your feet because that's what's on the ground when you're running and jumping. Do these exercises every day and you will become a faster athlete.
Go to our State Champs TV channel and check out the Game Changers playlist for the full 2-minute segments. State Champs RoboZone has lots of fresh Michigan robotics content, so check it out. Interviews, archive footage, information regarding next year's theme, and more. The State Champs Esports League of Legends playoffs are underway. It's the most downloaded game in the world. Check out Michigan high schools competing for the ultimate honor as State Champ. You can find it all on the State Champs Esports Twitch channel. Let's check out the results of yesterday's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. How often do you stretch? Daily for most of you, and that is a smart answer. Hey, tomorrow on Live, St. Clair Shores Lakeshore Dean of Students Richie Pop is going to join us. He's been a football coach, a quarterback mentor, an overall motivator in everything he does. I've known him for a long time. In fact, he used to have a segment every week on our Extra Point Football Show, for those who remember. Please join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. for that conversation. And if you know of a guest or a topic we should talk to or about here on Live, please email our show coordinator, Amanda. Her email address is amanda@yellowflagproductions.com. Have a great day. We'll be back here Thursday for another episode of State Champs Live.
Right now, we are all longing for the roar of a crowd, the excitement of a stadium filled with cheering fans, and the ecstasy of celebrating a hard-fought victory. But right now, we're all on the same team, and we must do our part to make sure as many students, athletes, coaches, teachers, parents, and loved ones are there when we have the luxury to resume our rivalries and start rooting for our teams once again. Stay home and stay safe.
State Champs Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. The Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.